First, time to get Unscrewed with Jason Bryant from unscrewed.co.nz. Jason Bryant back in the Kiwi studio. G'day.
G'day, Wemo.
Of course, this is where we open up a bottle of wine and give our thoughts.
Kick back, relax into the weekend.
Yeah, discuss the week's issues as well.
Yep.
Well, you came all excited about this new app you got on your phone.
Oh, TuneIn Radio. And I've just told my brother about it this morning in London so that he could possibly listen to us over here on his iPad too.
It's brilliant, isn't it? I've got it on my Android, and it's an app that basically has, I reckon, nearly all the radio stations in the world and podcasters.
That you'd want to have.
Yeah, that you'd want to have. Easily accessible with a couple of button presses.
Apart from the French ones. There's a distinct lack of French radio stations on there.
Do you like a French radio station?
I do. I think it's the most sexy language in the world. And instead I had to listen to Glenn Williams on the morning show.
But it's cool because it means that if you're commuting or doing whatever, you can just plug into that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Because it's kind of not every radio station in your country is kind of like down to your taste. So you can actually find a radio station that you like, and kind of like. So I tuned into Kiwi FM this morning, listened to Whammo.
Cool.
And his new kind of playlist.
You liking it? You liking the slight shift?
Do you know what? I don't. Right now, I don't mind.
Yeah.
But once I've heard all those songs over and over again, then I may start to waver.
Yeah. Depends on how long you listen, I suppose, eh?
Yeah. Like for me, I listen to, obviously, to you because one of the things I do like about your segment is that you have all these cool people who you interview weekly, and they give you a weekly update about what's happening. And I listen to Dylan's story.
Yeah. With the space this morning. Good bunch of people, eh?
Yeah, and it's a really good bunch of people like Vaughan and Paul. I listen to on a very regular basis, and if I can't catch you on the radio, then I catch you on YouTube. And so for me, it's about being able to update myself and kind of like, these people are cool and much more intelligent than me, and so I can learn something.
Yeah, always much more intelligent than me. That's the thing. I try to get people on who are much more intelligent than me, and that's not very hard, of course.
I think you're just underplaying yourself there. So it's cool, and that's why I kind of tune in. I think you find it's just like any, whether you're online or on the radio or some kind of channel, that you find an audience or they find you. And like with wine, they find you, whether they believe you're authentic and trustworthy, and they believe your reviews and they attune to your palate and stuff like that. Yeah. For me, certainly on kind of Unscrewed.
Yeah,
that's the case.
Indeed. What have we got in the studio today?
Well, I had the kind of, I guess, the equivalent in the Chardonnay to this this week. This is Neudorf Tom's Block Pinot Noir 2009, so it's just been released.
Now, we've had some Neudorf before, but I can't remember what.
No, I was struggling to think what it was, whether it was a Chardonnay, Nelson Chardonnay, or 09, or whether it was the Pinot Gris.
How do you spell Neudorf?
Eudorf. And so for me, I had the Nelson Chardonnay 2010 and tasted that this week.
Yeah.
And it was like, I likened it to kind of like there being a bright shining star over Nelson right now with its Chardonnay, because every Chardonnay I've tasted from Neudorf especially.
We had the, sorry, just to interrupt, we had the Neudorf Maggie's Block 2010 Pinot Gris.
Yeah. And like for me, I expected to kind of find kind of like three wise men walking to kind of Nelson as well, because this wine delivered 2 out of 3 of the gifts from these wise men of kind of, it was golden. It had a certain aromatic, which I likened to kind of frankincense.
Yeah.
And it was like the halo sitting above Nelson. And it's quite an often kind of unthought about place in wine terms. Yeah. So I thought, let's do a Neudorf week.
And I think I told you I visited Neudorf Winery last time.
And you liked it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice place to chill out for a bit.
Yeah, and
pet the dog.
They're active on Twitter as well. And they do quite a bit as well. Judy at Neudorf. And so I've never met, I'm going to disclose something, I've never been to Nelson.
Oh, really? Well, you're missing out, man. It's the only place in New Zealand.
Oh, Blenheim is, I thought.
Oh, I think they always have a
competition. Just kind of, kind of, I mean, because they're not that far apart. Yeah. And obviously kind of Blenheim and Marlborough took the wine crown. Yeah. And still probably holds that. And often little sanctuary of Nelson is forgotten about.
Yeah.
So
That's good. Lovely there.
I must get down there. I've got a friend who I studied winemaking with, who has got his own vineyard down in Nelson, Millcrest Estate, and so I must get down there at some stage. Also, I've got some old colleagues that I used to work with, so reside down there. So there's,
you can fly direct.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a new thing? So we will kick into this.
Yes.
See that sound of romance.
Unscrewed, that is.
Unscrewed. That is unscrewed, but you can also unscrew a cork.
So this screw. Reiterate, this is Pinot Noir, yeah?
This is Pinot Noir, and it's a multi-site Pinot Noir blend. So it comes from many little different vineyards. And this is, I don't mind this. It's when it comes from out the different regions.
Mm.
Apparently there was a wine, a New Zealand wine, would have been, someone told me about it this week, that it was a product of Australia and New Zealand.
Mm.
And it was a Pinot Noir from Gunner State or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, geez, we're flooded with wine right now.
Yeah.
Why do we need to import and increase our
It's a good point.
carbon footprint when we've got enough wine here?
Especially when we discovered the other day that French type wine that was coming out of East Cape. Where was it? It was a lovely Cabernet Merlot blend.
Oh, the Mission Estate.
Mission Estate. You know,
from Hawke's Bay.
had real French sort of characteristics. So we can do some of that stuff here as well.
Oh, do you know we can? We don't need to kind of stop blending our wine with other things. Also, I found a wine either last Friday or Saturday that was a non-vintage Central Otago Pinot Noir, which was 07 and 08 blended. And I think, wow, do we really need, especially Central Otago, do we really need to be going down that route of going, you know what, we got too much wine, let's blend it all together.
Stuck it in the vat.
Stick it all in and we'll see what we come out with, and then we'll bottle it and we'll
give it a name.
Punt it out. Yeah, and it was called, the sad thing, it was called Pinot Envy. So there was a little E, and then there's an MV, and then there's a Y. And they did, in I think 2008, have a vintage Pinot.
Yeah.
And then they'd gone non-vintage the following time. And so I got a bit of flack from one side saying, this is really bad, why do you bring this up, why do you advertise this?
Yeah.
And then I got some very positive emails saying, yeah, this kind of stuff needs to be exposed. It's doing kind of Central bad rep and stuff like this. And so there are two sides of the camp. No one really wanted to own it. Everybody's disowning it. And so, but if it's a business model, I think it's really cool because they had the foresight, which I often think is lacking sometimes, to see that there was going to be a wine glut and that they could make some money off the back of it, which capitalistic wise, I think that there's nothing wrong with wineries making money and people making money out of wine.
That's right.
I just sometimes wonder about the ethics and the morals. So yeah. But anyway, but these people certainly aren't in that category.
No.
These are the people that do have the light and the halo above them. They make very good wine. It's a multi-site Pinot Noir, so they get the best multi-site, multi-clone. And
what does that mean?
they're grown because of phylloxera, and depending on your site. Phylloxera was a little bug that was in the ground that used to kind of kill eventually all the vines.
Right.
So it was brought over from America to France and then pretty much wiped out the French wine industry.
Yeah.
So what they did, because the roots and everything were resistant in America, they grafted the vines on top of the American roots.
Right.
So then the vines become clonal.
Right.
And also whether they're vigorous or non-vigorous clones will determine kind of like whether you plant them on a vigorous site or a non-vigorous site.
Okay.
And how much fruit and the type of grape that you're growing. And there's a whole lot of kind of variables that you want to kind of calculate for your site. And so it's multi-clone, multi-site, and so they blend it to the best wine that you can possibly make. We get a bit kind of caught up in kind of like this must be single vineyard, and some do single vineyard, single clone, and I'm thinking, just make the best wine.
Yeah. So that's what they do at Neudorf.
And that's what they've done at Neudorf. And this has got, they've got the home block, and they've also got Moutery Pinot as well that sit above this as well. And so one of the things I got an intense kind of almost bacon character mixed with black fruit. It's a bit like
lovely, sort of little smoky.
Yeah, smoky, that kind of come from the oak. And it's only 25% new French oak.
Yeah.
So it hasn't got that vanilla character from the American oak. It's quite perfumed, aromatic, quite pretty. It's good colour. Dry.
Some acid there.
Some good acid. Quite full in the mouth. Quite textural. But still, you get that fruit sweetness. And then you get that slate finish.
It's really nice. I like it.
Yeah, so do I. And given that this is... They seem to think that... I'd say it's a sister wine rather than a kind of lower tier.
Yeah.
And I think that's important to remember. It's $30 retail.
Yep.
So for me, sitting at $30 for... I know it's Nelson, but these are the leading light of Nelson and worth every cent.
And it will only
Get
improve
better.
as well, yeah.
It's 2009. For the next 5 years, it will get better.
Okay. Brilliant. There was the Neudorf.
Yep.
Tom's
Block.
2009. Pinot Noir.
Until next week.
Until next week. Thanks very much, Jason.
My pleasure.
Unscrewed.co.nz, Jason_Bryant on Twitter.